at this point in time, it's quite difficult to make a compelling argument to buy the Apple Vision Pro over the Meta Quest 3. But I do see the vision. Let's talk about it. I wanted to make this video because I had some thoughts. As of right now, what can the Apple Vision Pro do that the Meta Quest 3 cannot? Currently, for the price of the Apple Vision Pro, it's hard to make an argument to buy that over the Meta Quest 3. At this current time, it feels like the Meta Quest 3 provides significantly more bang for your buck for now. The Meta Quest 3 being a computing device in its own, you're able to connect it to your computers via USB port. Even a MacBook, you can connect it to a MacBook via USB port and have the screens out there, out in the spatial world. You're able to manipulate what you see on the screen. Granted, not in the same way that you can on the Apple Vision Pro, but it's a different device. You can manipulate it in a different way, but it's not so different that it warrants the extra $3,000. I've recently seen a post by MetaQuest's page on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the Meta Quest 3 will soon be able to support spatial video, which was one of the things that a lot of people were looking forward to using the Apple Vision Pro for, in order to see the essentially like a 3D video that you're able to take with your iPhone 15 and up. So that now makes me think, will other phones, like other Android phones, be able to shoot spatial videos? Will they have, is that like a thing that other phones will start to incorporate now that Meta is able to also have this feature on their device? Who knows? We'll see as time goes on. Also, fun fact, Facebook turns 20 on February 4th, which is 2 days after the release of the Apple Vision Pro. Now, I don't know if that was purposeful or if this just happened to be a coincidence, but I do find it interesting that on the 20th anniversary of essentially their biggest competitor in terms of the headset, VR headset space, that they decided to release it 2 days before their anniversary. But hey, business is business. Now, the comparisons between Apple Vision Pro and Meta Quest 3 are very easy to make, considering that these two devices came out around similar times. They do similar functions. They have similar form factors, but there is something to be said about this being Apple's very first iteration of this kind of device, and comparing it to essentially now the 4th generation of Meta Quest, considering they had the Meta Quest Pro as well. So Meta Quest 3, counting the Pro, this makes it the 4th device. This might be a silly comparison considering Apple is a $1 trillion company, but it's almost like comparing myself. Like, I'm a small YouTuber, I'm just starting to make videos. Me comparing myself to somebody that's been making videos for years and is way more established on the YouTube platform, it wouldn't make sense for me to compare myself directly to them and be ashamed of what my videos are compared to theirs. Since the Apple Vision Pro has received a lot more publicity than other VR headsets, I've seen some very unique scrutiny. Specifically, I've seen scrutiny on the fact that they're saying that the Apple Vision Pro is a very lonely device and cuts you off from the rest of the world, which essentially all VR headsets do. But the Apple Vision Pro has actually done more in terms of trying to connect you with the outside world, in terms of their front screen that has the depiction of your eyes on the front of it to allow people on the outside to still somewhat see your eyes. And also, when you're in a full VR space, being able to still be able to look at somebody and see them come through your VR space, and you're able to still connect with that person. That's more than I've seen any other headset do. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure maybe some other headsets might have something similar, but I haven't seen it to this level of them actually trying to connect with people on the outside. It is still very early for the Apple Vision Pro, and like most Apple devices, it most likely won't truly come into form until a few months or even years down the road. Much like when the first iPhone came out. It's nothing like what the iPhone is now. Same can be said about the iPad or the Apple Watch. These devices have become very common in people's households, and now you can see them almost everywhere. And I want to be able to say the same thing about Apple Vision Pro. I hope that Apple Vision Pro and this new form factor for a headset takes VR headsets to that level of social acceptance. I would love to start seeing these out in the streets, out and about, people on planes, people in parks, people in coffee shops, doing their computing as you would normally do on, say you bring your laptop into the coffee shop and you're doing some work there. I would love to see Apple Vision Pro almost in place of a laptop. Or, you could have it side by side, you could have it as a supplemental device, but I could definitely see that these types of computing devices can take place of what we now use our laptops for. During one of the latest Apple press releases, Apple has announced that they will have 600 new Apple Vision Pro apps at launch. I say that because the early reviews from some of the people that were able to get the device a little bit earlier, there seemed to be a lack of things to do really on the device. And I guess with the release being a few days after a lot of these reviewers were able to get their device, developers have been able to produce apps, produce some more, maybe even use cases. Some of these apps to include Apple TV and Apple Music. And since Netflix and Spotify are currently not making apps for the Apple Vision Pro, this could compel some people to start getting those subscriptions and further ingrain their audience into the Apple ecosystem. Apple has decided to go the controllerless route on the Apple Vision Pro. You are able to use your eyes and your hands to control the device, no controller needed. But I could see some use cases where maybe a stylus or some sort of, maybe a ring of some sort, something to make it a little bit more precise for hand tracking or tracking in general. Like, say you were an artist and you wanted to do 3D art or 3D modeling, or you were a doctor and you wanted to practice doing surgery of some sort. I think a stylus of some sort would be able to help do a little bit more precise lines, where precision, doing an activity where precision is very much so needed. I think a stylus would allow the capability for exact movements or exact pinpoint movements. That's just my opinion. I think some sort of peripherals would be cool to see down the line. Now that it's launch day and I've seen a few more videos on people using the device, I'm coming to the conclusion that the most powerful use case is really just to use this as a replacement for a computer. I know it's almost like, duh, they call it spatial computing, but a lot of people are looking for a specific app in order for this to be the biggest selling point for them, and rightfully so. It does cost a lot of money, so you would want something to compel you to buy it. But for me, I do see this as being the future of computing, and the ability to connect with a computer in this way just allows for a lot more freedom of movement, and your imagination can really just run wild in a space like this. And I'm just so excited for where this space goes, and I cannot wait to get my hands on mine. Thank you all for watching this video. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and even if you didn't, just just give it a little tap. Hit subscribe and you will be able to see my upcoming videos when I do get my hands on the Apple Vision Pro. Please leave any questions you may have and I'll be able to answer them with the Apple Vision Pro in hand. Anything that you're curious about, I will be glad to answer your questions. Once again, thank you all, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.